Hi everybody, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Michael. You're watching another episode of Star Wars News and Views, and today's is going to be about the new television spot. Previous one was about the new international trailer. There's also a TV spot that came out the next day that has equal amounts to talk about, despite being shorter.
30 seconds, yeah.
So I guess like throughout all the trailers, you've been hearing this a lot of voiceovers, and I think this one, the voiceover is Maz Kamada, which is Luke Nyong'o's CG character. So I think she's supposed to be like this old woman who lives on Jakku, but she's an alien, and is like kind of giving her advice, and she has sort of this kind of mystical angle to her, like she's very wise.
Yeah, and she's speaking pretty much all in metaphors kind of in the trailer, so and it seems like really implied that she's talking to Rey. And what she says at one point is, I've seen eyes, I've seen like the same eyes. So it's kind of implied that, parents pass on their eyes to their children, and it's sort of like she's seeing like the different generations in the new people. And when she says that, first we see Rey, and then it cuts right to Han Solo, and it's like kind of implied that she's definitely his daughter.
She's just speaking in metaphor. It's like the same type of personality. I see the same type of people, but the way they have it cut, going from her to then Han.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, is that on purpose, or are they just trying to troll us and throw us off?
Yeah.
Because they're aware of all the rumors, right?
For sure.
Like a lot of them, that's the major one.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going to interpret it that way, they also go to Finn.
Yeah, and that right after Han they go to Finn, so not necessarily those two are connected, but it's kind of implying that Finn might have some sort of parent that was part of like the original Star Wars movies beforehand, because it's kind of implying that he's part of this generation, the new generation of people from the old ones. Yeah. That being said, there's only really like two major characters that are black that would be his like biological parent, maybe. So he's either somehow related to Mace Windu or somehow.
We didn't have kids. Lando probably has a million kids.
Yeah,
so
Lando.
That would be a little bit more realistic.
This evidence for the Mace Windu sort of one is that he can use the Force. But again, like
that doesn't mean anything. Can't there be more than 3 black people in Star Wars?
I know. I initially I never really thought that he was related to anyone before, but only because of this trailer and her sort of talking about like seeing their eyes, it's like possible, and it's worth discussing. But I don't necessarily think it's true.
My take is that she's speaking in metaphor, and the reason they threw Finn in there is because you have Han, Rey, and then Finn is the third main character.
Yeah,
those are the 3 main characters, so you have to feature each of them. Yeah. And it's not necessarily intended to mean anything. But what is worth mentioning, again, going back to relationships, is what is the status of Han and Leia?
Yeah.
Because whenever you see them, they're separate. They're never together, except for that one shot, which we'll get into in a second. Yeah. It was in the other trailer, too. But you see Han doing his thing. You see Leia on the Yavin base doing her thing. And then the one shot of Han and Leia together, he's like consoling her, like something bad just happened, and he's just being there for her. So it raises the possibility, are they still together?
Yeah, because when he was holding her, it doesn't seem like it was in a romantic way.
No,
it was kind of like embracing an old friend or someone who's been like just through trauma.
Yeah, because even if they weren't together, I'm sure they would be on more or less good terms.
Yeah.
Is it just because of work? Because they're both high-ranking officers in the Resistance that they have to be in different places, or is it just a coincidence?
Yeah. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean anything yet because we haven't seen any other evidence for either side. But it's definitely worth mentioning because it's not established.
It's just so vague. It's basically guesswork because we're just like one shot in the trailer, it gets scrutinized so much. Like, what does this mean? What about this? What about that? No, it's just a shot of him, a shot of her, a shot of them together. That's the way. It's just coincidence. Could be.
It's possible that where he's consoling her scene might be because of a rumor that we had talked about recently from the last trailer that maybe Chewbacca dies, and it would seem like that's kind of a very emotionally heavy part for them to be together, to bring them together. But that's also speculation. I don't know yet for sure at all.
Well, lots of people are saying, and I thought of this too, that Han Solo is going to be the one to die, because I don't think you'd want to keep doing the movies. Like, this one's fine because he's the main character or a main character, and then it's his big send off, which he wanted them to do in Return of the Jedi anyway.
And in the final sort of scene we see Rey pushing forward like the throttle, and then it cuts right to the Millennium Falcon crashing through trees on what looks like Starkiller Base with trees and snow everywhere. So firstly, it would be a really big misdirection if she wasn't actually piloting the Falcon. That's kind of weird.
You can see she's piloting the Falcon.
Yeah,
I mean, it really, really looks like it.
Yeah.
It's quick and it's kind of shadowy, but it really looks like it.
And from that, it looks like it's crashing. So if it crashes, the next scene we see, or another scene that we see constantly is her and Finn fighting Kylo Ren on like in the snowy forest.
Do you even see? You don't see her.
You don't. Oh, that's true. Yeah. But we see this fight happening in the snowy forest, so it's possible that like
that's the same one. Well, you see them crashing through a forest. So I think the climax of the movie is all the X-wings and everything attack Starkiller Base, and then Rey has control of the Millennium Falcon, and I guess I'm assuming Finn is on board. Something happens, they get hit, they crash, and then nightfall comes, and Kylo Ren comes out looking for them, and or at least for Finn, and that's sort of the finale action moment.
And one thing worth noting about that too is that nowhere do we see Han Solo at all in the Millennium Falcon. So it's, you know, if that rumor is true,
not
that
piloting anyway.
Not piloting, yeah.
But you
but
see
also,
him on it when he's talking to them about the
Oh,
Star
I mean in this scene where it's crashing. So now we don't see him on that, and also implying that, you know.
But you do see him on Starkiller Base, even in the beginning of the ad. Right?
Sure, but if this is the end, like the final scene, he's not. It doesn't look like he's there, and we don't see him in the forest at all. Any other shots either. So if he does die, maybe at one point Rey takes the Millennium Falcon.
Maybe him and Chewie are on the Star Destroyer.
Oh yeah, that's
at the same time in space. This is going on, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Could be
anything. But he's not. I don't think he'll be there for the climax. It looks like it's just gonna be Rey.
No, that's like the Force people are there, so it's like So yeah, they're really not being secretive about the whole Finn using the Force and having a lightsaber, and Luke's lightsaber no less.
Yeah.
I guess my guess is because for promotional reasons you have to have the hero with the lightsaber as well as the villain with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
So like, okay, this is one thing we can throw out there. They're gonna see the toys. It makes for good poster images.
Yeah.
I don't know how extensively he's going to use it in the film. Like, that could be the only scene. It's the only scene we've seen so far.
Speaking of Luke's lightsaber, we see it being handed to Leia at some point, because it's the same, like, you know, outfit she's wearing, and it's definitely like a female hand. And we don't know who's actually handing it to her, but it could be...
The rumor is that it's Maz Kanata.
So it seems like she's giving that to Leia, who then, I guess, at some point has to give it to Finn, or somehow it ends up in his hands. So we're not really sure these... you know, order of events that are going to happen, but it looks like it's being passed around a lot.
Well, the rumor was always that Rey finds it, and maybe she gives it to Maz because she's like, I don't know, what is this? And she's like, oh my god, this is like an old Jedi weapon. I was around back then, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, we gotta go give it to Leia Skywalker. And then they give it to her, and then somehow Finn ends up in possession of it.
Yeah.
I don't know,
but it seems like it's a pretty big plot point of this movie, is this lightsaber.
You also see Rey like beating some, like, you know, hooligan at the Jakku with her staff, which is the only time we actually see her do anything with it. I was always wondering, what is that? Like, what does she do with it? Is it like, how does it work as a weapon? Is it just like a bow staff?
I don't know, maybe.
Or is it like electrical?
I kind of, for some reason, it looked like one of the ends was a bit bigger, so I'm not really sure why, but it looks like maybe it could be kind of like a blaster staff where she can shoot it out or something, or it has some kind of like electrical components to it, more so than just being a wooden object or metal.
Yeah, in Revenge of the Sith, the guards have those magnetic poles that they can deflect lightsabers with it, which would be very useful in the fight against Kylo Ren. And one other thing is you also see here firing at Kylo Ren, which you know, we saw in the other trailer, like he comes up behind her and, like, you know, it surprises her. Yeah. But it looks like they must get away at some point, right? So maybe that's her escape and she's firing back at him. I don't know.
It's a lot to talk about for a 30-second trailer, though.
Yeah, this has been longer than our other video. So I guess that's it for now. Leave us your comments, like anything we missed, things you really liked about it.
Yeah.
I really want to find out what that bow staff she has. Is it electrified, or like, what is it?
Yeah, it looks really cool. I'm really enticed to see also if she ends up with a lightsaber at any point, or if she just sticks with this.
Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to leave us a like, leave us a comment, and we'll see you next episode.